I want you to try something real quick. Try to think of something you're genuinely interested in. Not because you saw it on TikTok, not because the algorithm kept showing it to you. Something that is truly originally yours, an interest, an idea, an opinion that came from you, not from your feed. Can you? Because when I tried doing this exercise, I couldn't really tell the difference. We all know that brain rot is messing with our attention span. That's old news at this point. But there's something else brain rot is taking from us that nobody really talks about. And it's so much bigger than not being able to focus. It's taking your creativity, your ability to think for yourself, to know who you are without a screen telling you. So in this video, I want to talk about what brain rot is actually doing to your creativity, your ability to have original ideas, to daydream, to actually make things instead of consuming what other people made. If you're new here, I'm Veronika, and I started this channel because I realized that I was losing myself to that same cycle of overstimulation I'm gonna talk about today. I really hope my videos are helping you live with more intention and actually feel like yourself again. If you want more content from me, I have a weekly newsletter called Aligned. If that sounds interesting, you can subscribe for free by using the link in the description. Alright, let's begin. And the first aspect that is connected to creativity that I want to talk about is why your best ideas need silence. There's a specific network in your brain called the default mode network, DMN. This is your daydreaming brain. It's the part that lights up when you're staring out a car window, taking a shower, going for a walk with no earbuds in. It's where your best ideas come from, where your brain makes unexpected connections, imagines the future, and processes who you are. But here's the thing, this network was never meant to be on all day. When you're working, doing your everyday tasks, other parts of your brain take over, and that is completely normal. The DMN was designed to be active during the in-between moments, like the commute, the lunch break, waiting in line. And the problem right now is that we're filling every single one of those gaps with input. Your brain is on all day, and the DMN was supposed to get its turn during breaks. But instead of taking an actual break, you scroll. And scrolling is not resting. Your brain is still actively processing things like images, videos, text, and audio. Your creative brain never gets a turn, not once during the whole day. And that's probably why people say that their best ideas come to them in the shower, because it's literally the only moment when we're not feeding our brains anything. And unfortunately, we're starting to lose that too, because now we're taking our phones with us to the bathroom, to the shower, absolutely everywhere. So our brains never get to truly rest. Researchers at the University of Utah wanted to know what would actually happen if we turned off this network in someone's brain. Like, what if we just shut it down and see what happens to our creativity? So they worked with patients who already had electrodes in their brains for medical reasons. And they disrupted the default mode network on purpose. And guess what happened? People's creativity dropped immediately. They couldn't come up with original ideas anymore. The moment this network was suppressed, creative thinking just stopped. And the reason I'm sharing all of this with you today is because we're literally doing the same thing to ourselves every single day. But we're not in a lab. Every time we fill a break, a quiet moment with something for our brains to focus on, we are suppressing the exact same network. And the result is also the same. We can't think of anything original anymore. We just talked about how passive consumption is draining our creativity. But with all the AI tools right now, the risk is even higher. We're becoming more and more dependent on tools that think for us instead of with us. So I want to share something that's been doing the opposite for me. It's called Recall, and I want to say a huge thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. Before I show you how it works, I want you to imagine being able to ask a question like this. I saved a podcast about dopamine fasting from like a year ago. What was that one thing they said about morning sunlight? Give me the exact timestamp. No AI tool can answer that right now, but Recall can because it knows the content that you have consumed. Recall is a personal knowledge base where you save anything you consume. YouTube videos, podcasts, PDFs, articles, TikToks, and with their browser extension, you can do that in one click. The moment you save something, Recall creates a summary that you can read or listen to. And yes, you can clone a voice for the audio feedback. I cloned my own voice and I can listen to all the summaries this way. But the real magic is their new feature called Agentic Chat. You can have an actual conversation with everything you've saved, and you get to choose where your answers come from, just your knowledge base, the internet, or both combined. That's a big deal because you're in control of your sources. You also choose your AI model, Claude, GPT, Gemini, whatever you prefer. Remember the question I shared at the very beginning? I saved a podcast about dopamine fasting from about a year ago. What was that thing that they shared about morning sunlight? Give me the exact timestamp, and Recall does, because it's analyzing my knowledge base and gives me the answer I'm looking for. And one last thing, Recall has a quiz feature that generates questions from any content you've saved and creates a spaced repetition schedule, so you can actually retain what you learn over time. I made a quiz based on this video. The link is in the description, and I want to see who actually paid attention. You can challenge your friends too, so let me know in the comments who tops the leaderboard. If you want to try Recall, the link is going to be in the description as well. Use my code Veronika25 for 25% off their annual subscription or monthly max plan. The offer is valid until June 1st. Alright, the next important aspect of your creativity is the fact that your brain needs to be bored. Because boredom is actually the fuel for your creativity. When you feel bored, your mind wanders, and that wandering is actually when breakthroughs happen. But right now, we've completely eliminated that boredom from our lives. Waiting in line, phone. Lying in bed, phone. Commuting, phone. There is zero space left for your brain to wander. And every time you feel a quiet moment with scrolling, you're interrupting your brain's creative process. It's like pulling the cake out of the oven every 2 minutes and wondering why it's not baking. You have to leave it alone for it to work. And I noticed this for myself with something small, and it actually freaked me out. In the past, every time I would take an Uber to go somewhere, I would just spend the whole trip on my phone, scrolling, or replying to messages. So I would get in the car, sit down, open my phone, and boom, we're there. It felt like I was in a dream because I wasn't taking anything in. The streets, the cars, the neighborhoods. And I live in such a beautiful, vibrant city. And at some point I realized that I just don't know it that well because I'm always on my phone. Instead of spending 15-20 minutes just daydreaming, thinking about something, enjoying the weather, I spent 15 minutes consuming someone else's content. Multiply that by every car ride, every line you wait in, every elevator, every quiet moment. That's hours that your brain is losing in creative time every single month. And the crazy thing is, you don't even notice any of that because you're not bored, you're entertained. But entertained and creative are two completely different things. By being constantly entertained, we're not allowing boredom to do what it's supposed to do. Open space for real life to happen. Okay, the next big issue I see is that passive consumption is changing your brain. Your brain physically changes based on how you use it. That's neuroplasticity, and I talk about it a lot on my channel. When you spend hours consuming everything very quickly, your brain is becoming more and more used to this type of behavior. You're building stronger pathways for receiving that quick information. That's why usually at the beginning, listening to everything at 2x speed is kind of weird. You're like, oh my god, what's going on? But after a few months, you're like, oh, that is my new norm. I'm gonna listen to absolutely everything right now at 2x speed. And most of us spend more time right now consuming rather than creating. So we're literally training our brains to be passive. And when you scroll, your brain gets rapid-fire dopamine hits. It's the exact same reward centers that light up during gambling. Your brain slowly adapts, and it needs more and more stimulation to feel the same thing. And the result of all of that is that slow, creative work, like writing or painting or just learning a new skill, all of that feels painfully boring. Your brain wants novelty right now. I want it now, and I don't want to feel any discomfort. It can't really tolerate the slow, patient process of building something new. The average attention span right now is 43 seconds. And obviously creative work just can't deliver that speed. There was a really interesting study done where a psychologist took people on a museum tour and told some of them to take photos of all the art while the other group had to just look at everything with their eyes. And the people who took pictures of everything, they remembered less. Their brain basically told them, you already stored everything on your phone, so I don't need to. Just think about it for a second. We think that we're preserving memories when we take pictures of something, but we're actually outsourcing them. We're handing the memory to our camera roll and walking away with less of it in our actual heads. And I know, finding that balance is really hard because I like to take pictures too. I think the real problem starts to happen when we put this unnecessary pressure on ourselves to document absolutely everything, to share everything on social media, because we think that if we don't do it, it never happened. You know, it's like when I go to the gym, I need to take a picture that I went to the gym, I need to upload it to my Instagram stories, otherwise it didn't really happen. There's another trend on social media that I noticed that I found really beautiful. People post videos of their trips or family moments with captions like, our vacation in Alaska, only using videos my mom took. And those videos really go viral. People really like watching them. And if you've seen any of them, you know exactly why. They just feel different. They feel warm and cozy like a hug. Your grandma isn't filming every single second for an aesthetic reel. She's picking up her phone when something genuinely moves her. She's not thinking about the caption or trending audio, or if she doesn't post this right now, people are gonna think she didn't have this experience or she didn't enjoy it. She's just recording something for herself because she loves it. And when you watch those videos, you can really feel that. Okay, another problem that is hurting our creativity is perfection paralysis. I think the sneakiest thing brain rot does is convince us that we are creating when we're not. We save workout videos instead of actually working out. We pin recipes instead of cooking. We make aesthetic to-do lists instead of actually doing the tasks. It all feels productive, it all feels creative, but we're not actually making anything. And I think a big reason we got here is perfectionism, because social media is showing you this perfect, polished version of something. You see someone else's 10-year journey and your brain starts to think of it as your baseline. You already have to be this good. The gap between what you can realistically do right now and what you see online is so huge that you just decide not to do anything. And when you start a new hobby, when you start learning a new skill, if your entire reference of creativity is based on an algorithm, on this perfect version of reality, your attempts start to feel like a total mess. You start thinking that creativity can only look perfect, and because the work that you're doing right now is not perfect, you shouldn't even start. Like, you shouldn't continue at all because it just looks messy, ugly, and like everyone is already so much better than you. So why start and why continue? So instead of starting and being bad at something which is completely natural, we don't start at all. We just keep on watching, pinning, and saving. And there are actually 3 reasons why losing this sense of creativity is so dangerous. First, creativity is how you process your emotions. When you create, you give your feelings somewhere to go. All of those emotions, they need a pathway out, and that is why for many people, journaling feels like a release. It feels really good to just dump all of your thoughts on paper. Why dancing feels like a release, why making something with your hands feels so calming. It's not random, because your nervous system literally regulates itself through this act of creation. And when you stop creating, emotions obviously don't disappear, they just get stuck. Second, creativity is how you know who you are. Maybe it sounds deep, but it's actually very practical. The way you figure out what you think, what you want, what you believe happens through the act of creating, through writing, through making things, through expressing yourself. And that's usually why when people say, I feel so lost after years of consuming consuming content that is 100% real. They lost the tools to understand who they are and what they truly want. They're starting to realize that the way they think right now is based on what the algorithm is serving them, and they don't like it anymore. And third, creativity is how you feel like you're actually living your life. When you create, you prove to yourself that you can make something that didn't exist before, that you have a voice, that you're not just watching life happen, you're actively participating in it. And when you consume, I know a lot of you guys are gonna agree with me here, you just start feeling like a passenger who is watching everybody else's lives, and you don't even know what your goals are anymore, like what you want to achieve in life and where you're going. Like some things just happen to you, and that's not a personality trait. That happens when you stop creating. Alright, so what do you actually do right now? Because I really want to end this video with something practical, something that you can start doing today. I hope by now you get it. Creativity is really important, and brain rot is something that is hurting your creativity so much right now. The first thing I recommend is picking one activity that you do every single day and subtracting your phone from it. Stop pulling out your phone every time there is a gap. Waiting for coffee, sitting in an Uber, laying in bed before sleeping. All of those things are not wasted moments. And you don't need to fill every single empty space with something super productive. The goal is to be present and let your mind wander and allow your creative brain to turn on. The second thing is to try creating before consuming. Even 10 minutes of learning a new skill or creating something like journaling or maybe practicing a new hobby, all of that counts. I also love to consume stuff, like I watch a lot of YouTube videos every single week, but at the same time I don't watch short videos. So I chose the things that I like to consume, the things that actually teach me something useful, and the things that make me irritable, the things that I don't really like watching, like short videos, I don't really consume that content anymore. Instead, I fill my time with something creative, or with resting, with doing nothing, and with really focusing on the present moment. And the third principle is lower the bar so much that you can't say no. The reason why most of us don't want to create, don't want to learn new skills, is because the standard we set for ourselves is so impossibly high. It's probably something you saw on social media, and so anything less than that feels like you failed. So I want you to give yourself full permission to just make something bad. Write a paragraph that sounds terrible. Take a photo that looks blurry and weird. Cook something that doesn't turn out right. Making ugly things is how you get to the good things, and you cannot skip that part. Alright guys, I think it's going to be it for today's video. If you liked it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you like this video, I think you're going to love this one next, where I share 7 habits that saved me from brain rot. So if you want to keep watching, you can click on this video. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here. I'll see you there, or I'll see you in my next video. Bye!